Good day, everybody. NFL fans, handicappers, NFL handicappers. Today's your lucky day. I got the winner of the Super Bowl. I'll give you that winner, but you got to hear my reasons for and against each team just for a brief minute or two. This is the second year in a row, which is extreme anomaly, extreme rarity, that the one team in the Super Bowl gets to play at home. Last year, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers got to play in Tampa when he beat Kansas City. This year, the Rams were the home team. They're playing in Los Angeles, and Cincinnati is a visiting team. The Rams have that in their favor. However, that's not one of my variables here. So let's talk about the game real quick here. I want to say the line opened at 4, and it got down to 3.5. It got back up to 4, 4.5. I've seen some 5.5s, 5. There's been some offshore money, 4.5. I just placed my bet on. I have a money line bet. I have one play, and it's a money line play. When I placed that money line play, it was the Rams -4. And I just, before I turned the computer on, before I got everything set up today for this video, it's now back up to 4.5. Okay, 3 variables against each team. I'll alternate the points. The Cincinnati Bengals, the biggest variable against that team is their offensive line. Their offensive line is one of the weakest in NFL playoff history. I went back to the Super Bowl I, Green Bay, Kansas City, Super Bowl II, Green Bay, Oakland Raiders. I went back everywhere. There's something wrong with my mic here. Bear with me. Sorry, folks. Hope it's a little better. Sorry. Okay, let me start by saying that when I rank my teams, and I've never discussed it on the videos yet, but I'll do it next year. I rank quarterbacks, I rank running backs, offensive lines, defensive backs, linebackers, offenses in general. I rank them, and it gets updated every week. Team rankings, power ratings. There's 3 things I like in a football team. Number 1 is it's not the quarterback. It's not the offensive line. It's the defensive line. I look at that first. Most of the time in the Super Bowl history, going back to 1965, Super Bowl I, the team with the best defensive line, those 4 down linemen, or in a few cases 3, but they flip back between 3 and 4, and they have linebackers coming in. The team with the best defensive line almost always wins the Super Bowl. I know you don't believe that, and I'm not going to prove it here. I'm trying to keep the video short, but next year I'm going to prove my case. Now this year, and the top-ranked team gets a scale of 100 is the max. Okay, so and here's my scale before the playoffs started. Okay, the Tennessee Titans, with their 4 defensive linemen, they were the top ranked according to my rankings, so they get the perfect score of 100. The second team was the Los Angeles Rams with 97. The third team was the 49ers at 95. The fourth team was the Tampa Bay Buccaneers with 92. And the fifth team, the Green Bay Packers at 90. Okay, all these teams made the playoffs. Only one AFC team, which was the top, the Tennessee Titans, but they got beaten in the first round by your Cincinnati Bengals. You can look at that. Well, maybe it's a variable plus the Cincinnati because they overcame that. Joe Burrow got sacked 9 times. Only one other time I can remember that is when Donovan McNabb got sacked 8 times, and then when the scorekeeper, he went down, they counted as a sack. So technically on paper, the Philadelphia Eagles did it one time and they won the game. So that's the only other time I can see. I haven't seen anything anywhere else. So we're going to take that for gospel. But still, the Cincinnati Bengals, Joe Burrow, he got sacked a lot in the NFL, and I want to say he got sacked more than any other starting quarterback. That doesn't matter. But to me, that's the biggest variable, and it's going to play in this game because they're going up against another front 4 menacing guys with Aaron Donald, Von Miller, and a couple other guys. I'm telling you guys, they're in that fourth quarter in the game against the 49ers. I noticed a big difference between the fourth quarter and the first quarter. Having said that, now let me give you a variable against the Rams. They've had a lot of turnovers in the playoffs. I know they won their games, but that's a little concerning that they get a big lead, and they've got a lead in every game. Big lead. Halftime looks like the game is over. But they have in the second half to have turnovers. That's very concerning. It's like they're relaxing too much, or I'll let the other guy do it. Okay, the second point against the Bengals on first down yardage. They're number 32 out of the 32 NFL teams. That's going to play right into the Rams defense. And on second or third down, those linemen I just talked about, they're going to tee off on them. Let me mention something really quick. I'm talking about the defensive linemen because it just popped in my head. The Tennessee Titans front 4, each of those front 4 guys got at least 8 sacks. Okay, there's only one other time in history in the NFL that's ever happened. That was the Pittsburgh Steelers back in 1972 or 73. I forgot the exact year. But Mean Joe Green, Ernie Holmes, L.C. Greenwood, and there was a 4th guy. I mean, they each had at least 8 sacks. Let's face it, the Mean Joe Green and Chuck Noll and Jack Lambert, linebacker, Jack Ham, linebacker, led teams. They were hard to beat. I mean, they were almost a perfect team. The number 2 variable that's against the Rams is Matthew Stafford. He doesn't look the same. I know I can't prove that, but I'm here to tell you The eyeball test that I have to do before I start touting the team, I want to see how they look. Matthew Stafford has had 3 playoff games that were a wild card team a few times. Detroit was a contender for a few years there. Matthew Stafford does have playoff experience. Didn't win the game. They should have beat Dallas in that one game. That was a horrible game. But Dallas got his payback next week against Green Bay. That's a different video for a different day, for those of you can remember. Matthew Stafford does have playoff experience. Not a lot, but he does have some coming into this playoff season. Okay, Joe Burrow didn't have any. This is a variable against Matthew Stafford because he doesn't look the same. He's on a downswing of his career. He spent 12 years in the void of Detroit. Okay, it's a coach's graveyard and the quarterback and running back's graveyard. Ask Barry Sanders, running back. But Stafford, he's playing hurt. But Stafford, he doesn't look the same. He's playing hurt. When you're the quarterback and you're playing hurt, that ball just is not the same. And you just got to trust me on that. When you're playing hurt, you're not as effective. That's a variable that's against the Rams. The third variable against Cincinnati Bengals, okay, they're number 27 of 32 teams in the red zone. They got to do a little better with the red zone. And people keep, how can you say that? Well, look at their kicker. They keep touting this great kicker they got. Well, and he's kicking field goals because they can't score touchdowns. Think about that. Whereas the opposite end here, the team that are facing tomorrow, the Rams, they're pretty good in the red zone. And the third variable against the Rams, I think the Rams are actually more predictable and they telegraph plays. It's pretty bad when you're sitting there with your friends and you know what the Rams are going to do. I told them they're going to do a sweep right, and they do a sweep right the next play. How did you know that? And they'll run they're going to run 2 times and they run 2 straight plays. We're armchair quarterbacking. We're spectators and we're fans and handicappers and all that stuff. We can't do what they do. And there's a part of me that doesn't like to be harsh on any NFL player, even the worst teams, because that worst team is still better than we're ever going to be. If I ended up with 65 of us handicappers and we all left the Las Vegas Hilton, we drove to the stadium where the Raiders played, they would kill us like 200-0. I mean, we wouldn't even score a point. So I want to put that in here that I appreciate what the NFLers do. I mean, they're the best at what they do. The cream rises to the top. But now what we do, we split atoms. We're splitting the atoms. You take a couple of neutrons away from the plutonium-232 and you make it plutonium-235. And now you got this imbalance of nuclear energy, and it creates the atom bomb. Okay, so that's what we're doing. We're shaving hair. We're shaving the sheep. And we're fine-tuning it, the red hair versus the black hair. The red hair is thinner than the black hair, okay? That's what we're doing. That's our job. We're going to try our best to give you the winners. Now let's talk about some variables that are for the teams. Number 1, points for. Number 1, the Cincinnati Bengals, flaws and all, they beat Kansas City twice. How many teams do you know could beat this Kansas City offensive juggernaut? And their defense actually improved over the course of the season. And the second time they were down 18 points at halftime, I think it was 21-3. They come back in the second half with a perfect game plan. And you've heard me bash Andy Reid for 2 or 3 years now. He's the worst coach in the NFL. Okay, he got his gift when the 49ers were celebrating too soon, 7 minutes to go, when they were way up on the Kansas City. They picked off Mahomes twice. They sacked him 3 or 4 times. They had him scrambling, and then on 3rd and 17, he chucks the ball up in the air, and Tyreek Hill catches it. You can't catch that guy. Then they still want to lead. They're still celebrating. 1, 2, 3. They got a punt, and they did the same thing on 3rd and 12. He chucks the ball up in the air, and Tyreek Hill catches it again and scores. And they won that game by 4 points. Andy Reid, you got your gift. Okay, you got your gift. Save this video. I know it's not about the Super Bowl today, but Kansas City will never win another Super Bowl. Never. Not as long as Andy Reid's head coach. They got to get rid of him. What happened the other week with Cincinnati? He got too conservative. You see him shaking his head on the sideline? I caught that. Couldn't believe how conservative they got. Of course, I had Cincinnati at points. I understand that, but I had Kansas City on the money line. I thought they were going to win the game. I was wrong on that part. Cincinnati beat Kansas City twice. Kansas City doesn't have the front line that the Rams have. The team they're playing tomorrow that the Rams have. They got Chris Jones, might be the number 95 on the Kansas City Chiefs, that real big guy. Chris Jones is probably the one single best defensive end in football, okay? But the other guys around him are not nowhere near as good as he is. That's just my opinion, based on performance. Points for the Rams. They beat down the Cardinals. And they had to play the Cardinals 3 times, and they just beat them down in the playoff game. They beat down Tampa Bay in their playoff game, but then they relaxed in the 3rd and 4th quarter and let Tom Brady score 24 points in a row. They tied the game. Rams got back in the field goal, good and fine. But that game got a little hairy. And I lost that game. I had the Rams minus 4.5. They didn't cover. The Rams slayed their dragon. Okay, the 49ers have swept them this year. They turned around and they beat them in the championship game. I found this a same scenario where the Seattle Seahawks beat the Oakland Raiders twice in the regular season. One time they beat them really good at Los Angeles. But they met in the championship game and it was 30-0. 5 minutes to the second quarter, they were up 30-0. I mean, the game was over. But guess what? Second half, Jim Zorn brought Seattle back, and they got like either 14 or 16 or 17 points in the fourth quarter. Got a little scared, but John Madden on the sideline is shouting and screaming, and you know he's yelling at the defensive captains, and he just lock this game down. You can see read his lips, lock this game down, and get in there and lock it down. You know, I mean that's how he used to talk. He was good. He was actually good to the players, but when he got mad, we got John Madden. They used to call him John Mad. Okay, and rest of his soul, he was great for the NFL, by the way. And I had a little tribute video for him, or I made a good point for him when I had the Roethlisberger retirement jersey videos. You should watch that. Anyway, but the team that gets its revenge, that exacts its revenge on its nemesis during the regular season, if it's division rival, they've always won the Super Bowl. So that's in the Rams' favor. I'm telling you, and the Rams, they slayed that dragon. I mean, the 49ers were about 10 points with 20 minutes left to go in that game. I mean, I really thought the 49ers were going to win that game outright. But the Rams woke up in the fourth quarter and just dominated that game. Watch that game again if you don't believe me. Now what? Spaceman.
Hi, sweetie. How are you?
Fine.
You're probably good not to go. It was hotter than you know what here.
Well, it's hotter than you know what in my office, and I don't know how to hook this thing back up. So when you get up here in the next couple of days, we got to rehook this thing back because I'm dying here. I'm trying to film.
We'll hook it up later on today.
Okay.
And I have leftover pizza for dinner, and I have cupcakes.
Very good. I'll eat it.
Yeah.
The gardeners were here today. They stopped me the first time, and now you called again. So I'll leave this part of the video for fun.
I'm so sorry. I didn't know you were doing that. I just want to let you know I'm on my way home.
Okay, very good.
Well, like I said, I have Remy with me. Anna's really hurt bad.
What do you mean hurt bad? What do you mean? What do you mean she's hurt bad? You got to tell me really quick. I mean, is okay? Tell me.
Her leg is acting up a lot.
Oh, it's cramping and freezing up on her. It's horrible.
Remy said Mommy has a big owie.
Oh, well, tell Remy Grandpa Jack says hi.
Say hi, Grandpa Jack. She said hi to you, but I know you can't hear because
yeah.
it's loud.
Well, I got my headphones on too. Bye, baby. Okay, Candy, I'll see you in a bit.
Bye.
Bye. I just think that the Rams slayed their dragon. Cincinnati slayed their dragon in the regular season. They had to deal with the Baltimore Ravens. That was a big game at a time, and they had letdowns, and they overcame that the second time they beat them. First time they beat the Ravens, they went to New York Jets, and the Jets beat them straight up. They were down by 11 points in that game and beat the Bengals. I forgot what the score was by now, but they knocked me out of the survivor pool. The last point I'm going to give you for the Cincinnati Bengals is going to be that the 18 points comeback in the AFC title game. That's the best performance AFC team in its history. So that's in their favor. I mean, I know you should say, well, maybe you should combine that with your first variable to beat Kansas City twice, but it's to come back like that, I think is a separate variable. I'm not saying Joe Burrow's got that rock and roll like Dan Marino of the Miami Dolphins in the mid-1980s, but they can score at any time on any play. And now Cincinnati Bengals got that kind of team. They can score on one play. They can score at any time. And to me, when you got that kind of team, you are now a top 14 NFL team. You can score at any time. When you got a baseball player, he's the cleanup batter, number 3 batter on your baseball team, Barry Bonds. I mean, he could hit the home run at any time. Jim Rice of the Boston Red Sox just stuck his bat out one time and got off opposite field, hit the foul pole, barely made a home run. Hank Aaron did it. All your big sluggers, they can stick the bat out, and they're so powerful, they're so good, and get enough meat on it, get the meat on that ball, they can hit a home run from any pitch you throw at them. So that's what I'm saying. When Joe Burrow, they've done that. They've had walk-off touchdown bombs when they got the series on 1st and 10. So Cincinnati's a deadly team. In the third variable, the Rams are number 2 in the NFL with their front 7, including their defensive ends and their linebackers. If they can put enough pressure on Joe Burrow and make him throw before he wants to throw that ball, or outright just sack them, which I know they're going to do. I just think that the Rams are going to dominate that line of scrimmage. Level of competition. I know Cincinnati had to play Kansas City in the playoffs, and they beat the Raiders, but the Raiders got back in the game in the fourth quarter. That concerned me a little bit. And I had the Raiders, but I lost by half a point. That's okay. Primarily underdog better. The Bengals looked okay. They looked good, but they looked really good against Kansas City. They didn't look all that hot against Tennessee, but I know they still come up and won that game. But they also did something very good, which I like about the Bengals, that they slowed the tempo of the game down. They didn't let Derrick Henry, coming off his injury, get restarted. I mean, they picked off Tannehill and they sacked him, and the Cincinnati defense doesn't get talked about much. They've vastly improved. A couple years ago, they only won like 3 or 4 games. Their defense was horrible. They were like number 30 out of 32 teams in defense. But the Rams, who do they play in the playoffs, and who do they play twice a year? The 49ers. There was 3 dogfights with the 49ers. I mean, You can, if you watch the games, the intensity and the hitting in between those two games, the Cincinnati, Kansas City championship game, the AFC or the NFC, Rams versus 49ers, I mean, there's no question. Rams 49ers, I mean, those guys were playing ball. Those guys were hitting. They left everything on the field. I'm telling you, I mean, that was a complete dogfight, that 49ers game. And the Rams looked getting stronger. And I just personally think that was part of the reason why they beat the 49ers. They just wore them down. That's the team that Cincinnati's going to be facing this week. And I can't think of a team that Cincinnati played during the year that just got stronger in the fourth quarter. Now I'll give you the pick, talk about some props, and we'll talk about a couple of things really quick. So I'm giving you my play. That is, I'm taking the Los Angeles Rams on the money line, and I got it at minus 185. I don't know what it is right now. It doesn't matter. I'm sure it's going to change by tomorrow. I'm placing the one action bet. I'm placing a one bet. And I'm taking $2,000. I put it on the money line. I'm taking the Los Angeles Rams to win this game. That's your winner. I got two friends. One got 11 props. He's just having fun. He's got 11 prop tickets, and he showed them to me. And then I got another friend. He's got 9 prop tickets, okay? But they missed the best prop of all. If I were to go to Vegas, I would just only take just so I could say I played a prop. Okay, I normally don't play props. There's the over-under for both teams for the whole entire game, so you get both teams. Sacks total is 3.5. Man, I'd be all over that. I would be over the 3.5. So save this video. Over 3.5 sacks, okay? And if it was a good enough price, I'd be betting more than $100. As of right now, the way the pricing was, when I saw it, it's only worth 100, and I just didn't discuss it anymore. I couldn't tell you what it is right now. But the one guy did say, yeah, I saw it. It is changing. It's going the other way. So you got to get some of these props, you got to get them early. Because when the public's going to go one way, a lot of them are thinking like me. So it looks like a square sucker bet, the over 3.5. But I personally think Aaron Donald's going to get at least 1 sack. I'll tell my other friend he's going to get 2 sacks. I'll bet you. I never bet my friends anymore. I stopped that years ago because you lose your friend. When you keep beating them, when you beat them most of the time, and they keep thinking they're going to get their money back and they never do. It's just you lose your friend. So anything I do, I go to Las Vegas. Long story short, I don't like any other prop that my friends have. I don't like. I mean, they've got a coin flip, the national anthem, Cooper Cup MVP. This is why I like these kind of prop bets where you get both teams. You get a game total because you're getting both teams. And 85% of all the plays in any game is offense versus defense, and special teams is only 15% of the plays. So. That's why I like these kind of bets. Now, my friend, I like Cooper Cup to get the MVP. So, okay, you're getting one team's one player, and he's got to get the MVP, or you're going to lose the bet. They're suiting up 106 players for this game with 20 people on the taxi squad. You've got one player to get the MVP. I want you to think about that. That's why I've never bet an MVP thing type. Even when Tom Brady was in it all the time, I would not bet it because I was just you're getting that one player. Why would you do that? You want team totals. You want team props. That's why the only one I like, I said, is the over 3.5 sacks. So I'm going to close this video out by saying good luck with the game. I want to say something else too. I'm here to tell you it's only one game. This is one game. The guy's brother was teasing me. I'm going to go to the bank. I'm going to take that 10,000. I'll give you, the 2,000 if you give me the winner. No, don't do that. Treat this as one game. One game. Money management has to be your top priority, or you have no shot. I don't care who gives you the picks. I don't care who does what. Eventually, you're going to lose. I mean, the law of averages and the way how numbers and finances work, you get grinded down. So I'm going to close this out by saying I got the winner. It's the Los Angeles Rams. Money line is the play. Everything is up and up. And I'm telling you, I got the winner, and it is the Los Angeles Rams money line bet. They will win the Super Bowl. I'm going to give you a score. This is fun. I'm just doing the fun part. My score is the Rams 24, the Bengals 13. And well, why don't you go under? I'm terrible at over-unders. I'm under 50% with over-unders, and that's why I don't do it. I'm not that good with over-unders. Why should I do it? The way I've been handicapping since I was a small boy, since Super Bowl III, I just picked a side. I mean, I didn't even know what the totals were until later on. I'm sticking with my guns, and nothing's going to make me change. And I want to thank everybody that's subscribed to my channel. I hope you appreciate this video, and I've gave you the winner. It is the Los Angeles Rams money line is the only play. Long live the NFL. Always great day to be in America and other good stuff. Thank you, and stay tuned for the next video. It's probably going to be next season. Thank you, and good day.